Hey, everybody, it's Congressman Jamie Raskin coming to you from Capitol Hill. I'm sending all my best greetings to my friends out in Maryland's beautiful 8th District and beyond in Maryland and across the country. It's my favorite time of the week, Local Hero, when we get to toast and interact with the people that make life in our community wonderful. Today's Local Hero is Dr. Jeffrey Stone. This is in honor of National Public Health Week, and Dr. Stone is the medical director of the emergency department at Fort Washington Adventist Hospital, where he served for a year, but he was the attending physician in the emergency department at Shady Grove Adventist Hospital throughout the pandemic. And he went there after graduating with his degree in emergency medicine from GW back in 2014. During the pandemic, in addition to being at Shady Grove, he was selected as medical director for 2 medical facilities created by Maryland to treat COVID-positive prisoners. He lives in Chevy Chase with his fiancée and their chocolate lab, Ripley. Dr. Stone, it is a delight to have you. Congratulations on being our local hero this week, beginning April 7th.
Thank you so much, Congressman. It's really a pleasure, and I'm honored to be selected, so thank you.
Well, let's start with the pandemic and what we've been through and where we are now. Tell me, what was your experience of working through COVID-19 and trying to help at so many different levels in the local community, in the prison population, and where we've come to today?
Sure, yeah. Everyone knows how challenging the COVID for multitude of reasons. From the physician standpoint, we were working longer hours, we were working short-staffed, which continues today, unfortunately. But even for me, one of the biggest things that weighed on me was the unknown during that time. We really had so little knowledge about what we were dealing with COVID, how to treat it. The treatments were changing all the time. So we've come a long way in that, where we are now able to test right away for the virus in the emergency department. And I remember in the beginning of the pandemic, I had to call the public state health department to get permission to even test a patient for COVID. So we've come a long way in that sense. But even the unknown of how we were transmitting it and how long this pandemic would last definitely made working much more challenging, and definitely tied in the home life, because I would come home and have to throw all my clothes in the washer right away and take a shower right away, because we didn't know back then even how we were transmitting it to loved ones. So we've definitely come a long way in that sense.
Well, the doctors, the nurses, the health workers were so essential, because I've got to say that at the governmental level, the highest levels of politics, there was so much chaos and so much undermining of the public health project. And I'm wondering whether you think we've gotten beyond that and we've come to recognize that we're not going to be able to confront public health epidemics if we don't have a sense of unity in focusing on the target, rather than sending millions of conflicting signals and blaming the scientists and beating up on Dr. Fauci and all that stuff.
Yeah, we definitely need a unified message and a unified attack on these things. We've had another outbreak with monkeypox, and that's another example of that we need a concerted effort and message delivered to the public in terms of knowledge, awareness. We can't be, like you said, undermining and going back and forth, because that just creates fear and panic, which in the emergency room, we're seeing you regardless. So that just adds an additional burden on us.
I read a report, I think yesterday, about major shortages of emergency room docs and how it's getting harder and harder to get, young junior doctors to go into emergency medicine. And I wonder if you would discuss some of the reasons for that and what might be done to combat it.
So that's a great point, and I've probably read the same article, but yeah, there was over 500 some open emergency residency slots after the match day a few days ago. And a lot of this comes down to the post-pandemic ramifications that we weren't expecting. We have been overworked, and so there's this burden that's still on us. We're still treating the patients. We're still working the same hours. I think that there was a study that showed over 60% of ER physicians now are burned out. ER as a field tends to burn out quicker just based on what we see. And so the pandemic just really lit a fire to that and expedited a lot of burnout. And additionally, I mean, there's a study that even shows that a lot of ER physicians from the pandemic are suffering PTSD even. So there's a lot of that type of awareness even would go a long ways in addressing that.
Tell us about what keeps you in emergency medicine. What are the rewarding aspects of doing such tough work?
It's a good question. That's something I try to always recenter myself when I get overworked or overwhelmed at times. It comes down to just reminding yourself of the mission. I mean, we all went into medicine for a particular reason. And for me, it's that seeing someone at their worst and being able to treat that patient at their worst is a very humbling experience. And reminding yourself when you see that one patient and you're making a difference, that's what kind of continues that drive for me.
Yeah. So you can, in good conscience, encourage medical students and young people to think about emergency medicine as a rewarding, valuable career.
Absolutely. I mean, for me, not only do I need them in the future to treat me one day, but they it's a very rewarding field. It's a field that is enjoyable because you get to see everything and see anyone. And you get to dip your toe into almost every field at some point. And so without a doubt, I can encourage, and I hope anyone who's watching this will consider emergency medicine.
Well, I appreciate that very much. And I want to thank you for being our local hero for National Public Health Week. Thank you for all of your service at Shady Grove Adventist through the pandemic, and your work now at Fort Washington Adventist. It has not gone unnoticed. And so please accept the thanks of a grateful community to you, Doctor.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, I grew up in this area, so I have a big heart to this community. So I'm very happy to be able to continue to contribute to it.
Well, it shows. Thank you very much, and all best to you. Please, everybody, wish Dr. Stone all the best and congratulate him on being our local hero.
Thank you, Congressman.